Aye.
Nadia Flamenco,
Aye.
Anthony Sujisaka.
Here. All right, and then first we will go through our Pledge of Allegiance, and we have our students here to do that. So everyone, if you'll rise to the pledge.
Put your right hand over your Put your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and justice for all.
All right, let's, if I can get a approval of the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in, this is a resolution. Wait, vote, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimous. All right, and for item 5, we have a special presentation from the Daly City Host Lions Club 2024 Peace Poster Contest winners. The Daly City Host Lions Club will present the 2024 poster contest winners. Students from various Daly City middle schools in grades 6 to 8 entered the contest.
Good evening. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to brag about Daly City's children. Daly City Host Lions is one of an international organization of about 2.3 million people whose entire mission is to serve and give back to our communities in any way that we can. The Daly City Host Lions has been doing this since 1941, and our primary focus has always been on the children of Daly City. We offer this peace poster contest. I've been a Lion for just over 20 years, and this is my 20th time of presenting this to the schools, and it's always a great opportunity for us to appreciate the talents of kids who don't normally get recognized for things. So we have a poster contest. Every year it has a theme. This year the theme was, and I keep getting it mixed up, is Peace Without Limits. We had 215 submissions from the 3 schools that participated, and you guys have very kindly allowed us to recognize the students at Holy Angels School. They're all Daly City residents, and to have them on the same par with the kids from the Jefferson School District is always very, very nice to be able to do. So without further ado, I don't know how many of the winners are here this evening. They were all invited. Oh, we've got just the 2 from Ben Franklin, it looks like. So if they could come up with... And if I could ask 2 of the members of the Daly City Host Lions to join me, our president, Lion Bradley Rojas, and Lion Matt DiVincenzi, and Lion Teresa Prano. And they're just going to give a certificate and a gift card to each of the winners, and you can see up there on the screen, those are the 2 winners. This is our 2nd place winner, and this is our 1st place winner. We have the 1st place posters with us, but I think it'd be a little difficult to circulate them around this room this evening. So we want to thank you. Since the other kids aren't here, that's kind of the presentation.
Okay, this one is for Asna Madhu for winning the 2nd place. And the 1st place goes to Daniel Becker.
And you can see the other posters are up on the board, and we're going to go ahead and step out into the lobby and take some pictures if we're all finished here. Oh, excuse me,
Actually-
the board does have some certificates for the kids.
Okay, so then we only have, so yes, we have two of them, and then, sorry, could you repeat the names of the kids, just so we get the right ones? Asna Madhu, Asna, and Divya. Danielle, sorry, thank you. All right, so I'll let you go first.
So I have the honor of presenting Daniel Becker with two certificates, participation in our flag ceremony and acknowledging your achievement as Ben Franklin's first place winner in the Daly City Host Lions Club 2024 Peace Poster Contest.
And then I have a certificate of appreciation for the flag ceremony and certificate for the second place winner to Asna Madhu. Now y'all can take your pictures, or unless the board has any questions or comments. Seeing none, yeah, you all are good to go. Thank you so much for presenting.
Congratulations and great work.
All right, moving on, we're going to move to item 6A, board member acknowledgements and commendations, and I will start on my right.
Okay, well, wanted to wish everyone a happy new year, and I hope that your school year is off to a very good start. And what's on my mind is just keeping the communities and people affecting by the devastating fires in the LA area in our thoughts and our hearts. I know that every day people across this nation and around the world are affected by natural and human-caused tragedies. But to see so many people and so many communities and so many schools in ruins in our state was deeply heartbreaking. So if you can, donate to a good, reputable charity that's working to help people in the LA area, and please keep those communities in our thoughts. Thank you.
I echo my fellow board trustee sentiments. With it being a new year, I'm sure a lot of us have resolutions. I would implore you to, for our parents and our students, to maybe make one of those resolutions consistent attendance at our schools, as I know that chronic absenteeism is something that we are tackling in all of our schools, and not just obviously here in Jefferson Elementary School District, but across our county. And so I would encourage you, it's day 15 of the year, try to keep it going. I know as we're coming closer to, you know, the summertime and holidays, and people can get kind of ready to just kind of shut down, and I would implore you all to keep that resolution going and attend school every day on time. There are rewards that will be beyond just today and tomorrow, but for your future.
Okay. I want to commend once again the two artists that were honored by the Lions Club tonight, and also the Lions Club for all the work they've been doing with us all these years. I know they do the eyeglass testing, you know, besides just this peace poster contest. And commend all of you for coming out tonight. And I see a lot of teachers and principals. So thank you for your support. And we're here to support you in the community.
And I want to say thank you to everybody for being here. We feel solidarity to LA as well. And I hope we can work together. Everybody's important in this community, as teachers, students, parents, and all our crew behind. Thank you.
I echo my fellow board member trustee sentiments, and welcome back, everybody. All right, item 6B, superintendent comments.
Yes, Happy New Year, everyone. You may have noticed a little treat on your desk, on your table. This month, we honor and appreciate our dedicated school board members who work tirelessly to ensure our students receive the best education possible. So your commitment to our vision and leadership make a significant difference in our community. So we just have a little token of appreciation for you as well. And then on Monday, we celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a champion of equality, justice, and peace. And our district is committed to fostering an inclusive and equitable environment for all students. And so we encourage everyone to take this day to reflect on Dr. King's powerful message and strive to make his dream a true reality in our community. So welcome back, everyone, from the holiday break, and looking forward to a successful next semester.
All right, now I move to item 6C, persons wishing to address the board. This portion of the agenda is available for individuals to comment on or address the board on any issue that is under the board's jurisdiction and not on the agenda. The maximum time allowed for any speaker is usually 2 minutes. We will display the 2-minute timer on the screen. If the timer ends, I will stop you if you go over. As a reminder, the board may not discuss or comment on items not listed on this agenda or expressed during communications public comment. We want you to know that we will hear you, and we will ask our superintendent to follow up on your comments. Please make sure that you leave your name and contact information with Ms. Covere so our administration knows how to reach you. All right, and we do have speaker cards. So our first speaker tonight is Anusha Takla, teacher at MHT.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Good evening, everyone. As we recognize the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the civil rights movement, I'd like to express my gratitude to our school board and district leadership for standing in solidarity with our students, families, and staff. In December, you passed resolution number 241218B to provide a safe and welcome environment for everyone, free from discrimination and prejudice. Thank you. On another note, contract negotiations. CFT completed an independent budget analysis for the most recent 3 years. The results indicated our district has had and still has a healthy reserve projected through this academic year. Consideration should include ongoing revenue sources, such as the parcel tax extension, workforce housing revenues, stable enrollment, and I thought we had increased student attendance. So at least that stabilizes the ADA. So as you go into closed session tonight, please make an effort to provide your workforce, many who have families of their own, a meaningful salary increase to keep up with the cost of living increases. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Kevin Owens, teacher at TRP. Thank you. Our next speaker is Preston Clark, teacher. Thank you very much. Our next teacher, or our speaker, is Fur Ketchmer, teacher at TRP.
Hello, everyone. I'm Fur Kretschmer. I'm a teacher at TRP. I just want everyone to take about 5 seconds to think about your favorite teacher. And I bet every single one of you could think of someone right away. This one is one of mine, Mr. Meredith. He taught me about the world's smallest violin. And this one is Miss Tully. She taught me my love of history, and I am a history teacher to this day. Wasting time here. Finally, this one is Mr. Cody. He was my speech and debate teacher, and he taught me how to speak my mind and how to debate well and how to be able to think analytically. I want you to look out here, because every single one of these faces is also somebody's favorite teacher. And if we lose people due to lack of salary competitiveness, we put ourselves in a spot where we cannot recruit and retain well-qualified teachers who maybe someday will become somebody's favorite teacher. Let's not do that to our district. I've been here over 3 decades, almost 4. And I would love to see my district and our district continue on to thrive and be a place where we can be that district that sends those kids off into the world, knowing that that favorite teacher is always on their side and in their corner forever and ever. So I appreciate you taking the time to be thoughtful about negotiations.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Wes Cole, SKIA and CSEA President, number 2233.
So I don't have anything written down. Really, I'm here because I don't have any classified representation here. And it's because they're disappointed. They're disappointed in JESD. They're disappointed in the board. You didn't even thank classified staff. You said, thank you, teachers. Thank you, community. Nothing about classified. Makes me disappointed and upset. We don't ask for much. We're the forgotten people, and we understand that. It's disappointment across the board. We don't ask for a lot, but we are asking for an increase in salary. I heed you to consider what we countered with. It's important. We don't make a lot. Our mean salary is right around $48,000 a year. That's not much. We need all the help we can get. Please, support classified staff. Make us feel heard. That's it.
Thank you. Our next speaker Renee Rivera, classroom teacher.
All right, hello, my name is Renee Rivera. I'm a teacher at Westlake Elementary. I'm proud to be in a room of all these teachers that I've worked with for years. I wanted to say that the educators in our district, they're passionate, they are compassionate, they're intelligent, and they are selfless individuals who have dedicated their lives to the success and happiness of other people's children. Many people call teaching one of the most important careers someone can pursue. Yet, can we really call it a career if so many of us have to work a second job and/or summer school to continue in the profession? This job has never been easy, but somehow since the pandemic, it has become on most days impossible. Our schools and classrooms have become the focal point for addressing the broader societal shifts, often having to deal with psychological, emotional, and academic challenges faced by our students and our parents. Yes, teachers go out and work those miracles and raise those test scores. People tend to pay for what they value. A district that cuts corners on education, including teacher pay, will ultimately fare worse than the outcomes of one that places a high value on education and its teachers. The current district offer is not close to being adequate. As prices have grown faster than our paychecks to keep up with the current cost of living, our increase in pay needs to exceed the rate of inflation. Please remember, teaching is our calling. It's not our vow of poverty and sacrifice. Thank you.
All right, we have 3 more speaker cards, so I will need someone to motion for 6 more minutes to be added to this item.
Motion for 6 additional minutes to be added.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We will continue. Our next speaker is Mylene Acosta, teacher at MPB.
Good evening. Mylene Acosta, teacher in our district for 32 years now. I have a speech here. Actually, it's not from me. It's from Elaine Francisco, so I'm speaking in behalf of Elaine Francisco, who could not be here this evening. Dear Board of Education and Cabinet members, my name is Elaine Francisco, a retired JESD teacher. I want to express my gratitude to the board and cabinet members for your dedication to providing quality education for Daly City students. I'm here to advocate for a significant increase in teacher salaries. Our community worked tirelessly to pass Measure C with the understanding that part of the funding would be used to attract and retain quality teachers, a critical factor in maintaining high standards in our classrooms. A mere 2% increase is insufficient to address the challenges our educators face. As you already know, teachers earn 19% less than comparable professionals, with the gap widening to 30% by mid-career. The current economic climate, with its high inflation rates, threatens to drive our talented educators to seek higher-paying positions elsewhere. I urge you to offer a substantial and competitive salary increase that reflects the true value of our educators' work. Our teachers need to feel and understand that the Board of Education, cabinet members, and members of the community appreciate the work that they do. Let's ensure that JESD remains a district where quality education thrives, supported by well-compensated, dedicated educators. As a Daly City resident for 4 decades, I will continue to support the concerted effort of all of you, board and cabinet members, in seeing to it that you continue to retain and attract outstanding teachers in our district. This is the time you can all show your sincerity by giving our teachers the increase they deserve. Thank you for your consideration and commitment to our district's success. Elaine Francisco, Daly City resident.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Adam Hawkins, teacher / president at AFT 3267.
Thank you. As educators, we play a fundamental role in shaping the future of our students. We've seen our compensation fail to reflect the incredible impact that we have. We live in one of the most expensive metropolitan areas in the country, where the cost of living continues to rise, for everything from housing to everyday expenses. For many of us, keeping up with those costs has become an ongoing struggle. A fair raise isn't just a matter of appreciation, it's essential for our ability to continue dedicating ourselves to our students and our work. When we look at our district's future, there is reason for optimism. Enrollment is stable, attendance rates are rising, and next year we'll begin seeing revenue from workforce housing, which will only add to the district's resources. The parcel tax renewal ensures 10 more years of stable funding, and we are positioned to continue growing and thriving. We work hard to support the future of our students and schools. It's time for this investment in our students and our community to be reflected in the pay that we receive as educators. We deserve to be compensated in a way that supports our own futures too. Let's work together and find the solution to this. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Adam Waters, counselor. Amber Waters, counselor.
Thank you. I'm Amber Waters. I have worked at FDR School as a counselor for the past 9 years. And tonight I hope to give just a little bit of voice to represent our counseling department and how I think we've gotten a lot of acknowledgement in our department that we've proven critical to schools and to education, and working alongside teachers that without the social and emotional support that we can provide, teachers can't do what they do best, which is teaching schools, teaching kids to read, do math, and all of us together really work to create the best school climate that we can possibly provide. And as so many people have said better than I can say right now, is really it's just keeping up with the cost of living. It's so expensive to raise a family here in the Bay Area. I have 2 teenagers getting ready to go to college in the next 2 years, orthodontics, everything, all these things, you know, they just cost a lot of money. And we just want to do a good job. And there has been so much turnover at schools at FDR. There's been a lot of turnover, especially in our middle school. And I think what we all hope to do is that people who come to work for our district are not just coming to work for a job, but we're coming because we fit in the community. We're part of the community. We find a place in the community, and we connect with the kids and we connect with the families. And so I really hope that you take in the voices of that everyone spoke tonight, because we're passionate about our kids, our schools, our families. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Cover, are there any more speaker cards? Excellent, thank you. All right, we will move on to item 7A, consent agenda. The administration recommends approval of the starred items on the rest of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve, or?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We move to item 7D, District Calendar 25-26. The administration recommends approval of the district calendar for the 25-26 school year. Is there any discussion? Otherwise, I will take a motion.
President Sujisaka, I just want to have Superintendent Mikulik confirm that in the creation of this calendar, outside of start and end date of school, that we did work with the high school district to ensure that the coordination for like the winter break and all of that stuff.
Yes.
Perfect.
We follow, they have their calendars ahead of us, so we follow theirs.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 7E, CSBA AXA 2025 Coast to Coast Federal Advocacy Trip. Discussion and action. Board members are invited to attend the CSBA AXA Coast to Coast Federal Advocacy Trip to shine a light on issues affecting the state's 6 million K through 12 students. The conference will be held in person in Washington, D.C. from April 28th to 30th, 2025. There will be discussion to determine if the board would like to approve any board members to attend. The estimated cost of attending this conference per each person is $32.14, with the specified dates or costs in there, funded through the board conference budget. So now we can hear if anyone is interested in attending.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested.
Same.
Me too.
Likewise. All right, so then if,
Send a postcard.
all right, so then with that being said, I would need a motion to permit the 4 trustees to go.
I move that we approve 4 trustees to go to the CSBA AXA 2025 Coast to Coast Federal Advocacy Trip.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 7F, appointment of members to Citizens Oversight Committee. Do I need to read the whole thing?
Just read the highlighted section.
Thank you. The administration recommends the board reappointment of the following members to the Citizens Oversight Committee. Pamela DiGiovanni, at-large community member. Marian Sicki, senior citizen representative. Adrian Zanini, member of Taxpayer Association.
So I would like to speak in opposition to the appointment of Councilmember DiGiovanni. I believe it is not good practice to have an elected, official elected city council member on an oversight board. There's actually some specifications on the representation that should serve, and I think that we do a good job of having a representative from a taxpayer association, a senior citizen, and the other groups that's really emphasize are parents who are involved in the district. But the Citizens Oversight Commission does occasionally review items that are reviewed and voted on by the city council. And oversight boards really should be independent, and I fear that anybody who could have a conflict of interest should not serve on the board. An example of an area where there could be overlapping interests is the recent workforce housing project. I think oversight committees like these are intended to provide private, non-affiliated citizens to have a greater voice in government and in the governance of our schools. And for these reasons, I would propose that we identify another candidate for this appointment.
All right, with that, is there any other discussion?
Can we get a clarification of the function of these members? To my knowledge, and I'm not defending the councilwoman by any means, but to my knowledge, they're just informing the public of what the bond money has been spent on, and if we're doing what we said we would do. Is that correct?
Yes, trustee, that is correct. The purpose of the oversight committee is to review the ballot language for the bond and then review the expenditure reports that the district presents to the oversight committee, and then to determine if the expenditures are in accordance with the bond language.
I guess to add on to that question, so therefore, if someone was on another government elected board, and they were also on in the oversight committee, because I believe that we have in our school district, we actually have a board member that is on the committee for our housing. Is there conflict or issues from, I guess, them being able to change our vote, sway the vote in a way that that could be contradictory to or beneficial to them being on both boards?
Thank you, that's a good question. And the Education Housing Board is a little bit different than an oversight board. The Citizens Oversight Committee is a citizens committee to oversee the decisions that you have made in spending the bond money, because the Daly City residents are paying for the bond. And I'm getting your question correctly, that Education Housing Corporation Board is, there's actually, in the December meeting, the Board of Trustees appointed one of you to be on that, just like the Wellness Committee. You appointed one of your members to be on the Wellness Committee. So that is justified because you have different committees and you've decided to appoint them to be on those committees. Now, they're not overseeing the decisions that you're making. They're just helping us with our project, our education housing project, or our wellness committee project, so that the board has a voice in those committees. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
All right, so we will go. Okay.
So in a way, it will be better to have her because she's already in city council and she can address our resolutions to make it effective, or no?
I don't believe that it is better for anybody to be in any specific position, because the job is merely to review the expenditures, review the bond language, and ensure that the district is spending the funds accordingly. So I don't believe that it's better for her to be on city council. It's just, we need somebody in as a citizen oversight. I don't know if I'm answering your question.
All right, so our time's up on this agenda item, so we can just move to the action, yes? Yeah, unless if we have more discussion, I will need someone to make a motion for more time.
I move that we have more time.
How much time?
5 minutes, I don't know.
All right, so we have
Tell
a
me.
motion for 5 minutes. I'll need a second for that motion to pass.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes for 5 extra minutes.
So I guess since I'm the one extending this, what are we saying right now? Are we saying that we don't want an elected official to be on this board, or is it the specific elected official?
Well, so we will be voting on each of these members separately, so I don't think we're saying anything about who. It's merely just each candidate individually.
But I do want to clarify that my statement pertains to all elected officials. I do think that the purpose of these boards is to have independent citizens who are regular parents, taxpayers, members of the community, reviewing the bond measures and reviewing the board's projects to make sure that they are in alignment. I do think that city council members and other elected officials have a different view, different information, different interests, in that they are accountable and could have a bias and conflict of interest. And I do think that our interest should be in getting more volunteers, more engagement among the greater community to serve on these boards. That's my position. On the councils, I should say.
Okay. Ms. Peterson, so do you have any experience in this area of I mean, have you observed elected officials being on these types of commissions in the past?
I really do not have a lot of experience in this area or any specific knowledge base about elected officials serving on oversight. If there's some direction that you would like to give me to research, then I would be happy to.
I think that would be good. And then also, I don't know,
What
Superintendent
would you
McCooley.
like her to pursue, or like us as cabinet to pursue as research? And I think maybe, first of all, if there is a vacancy, so we need to determine if there will be a vacancy based on a board vote. But then if there is a vacancy, then we can pursue looking into whether an elected official, is appropriate to have on a committee. I don't know if there's any regulations against that, but it, conflict of interest, it could be a board determination that you say that that is something you would not want. We'd have to look into it, though, we're not sure. But I think we need to first see, is there going to be a vacancy or not, based on the votes?
I was going to ask if we, I'll go, Andrea wanted to speak, then her, and then if, I just wanted clarification, when does this vote have to be made by?
I'll defer to Ms. Peterson.
Thank you for that question. So their terms expired on September 2024. Tony Bayuden, he was also a member, he has chosen not to continue. And so hopefully the decision could be made in the next 2 board meetings, because we do want to have a meeting and we want to make an annual report to the board from the Citizens Oversight Committee before the end of this school year.
Okay, so then we have 1:30 to discuss this further. Oh, yeah, and then I heard Andrea and Nadia.
So I guess my recommendation for research is to understand what the rules and regulations are around a government official being on an oversight committee. I do not wish to, and I would recommend that we table this to the next meeting, because I do not wish to vote yes or no based on information that is not available, or voting someone off a board that they technically could be on just because they're a government official. I feel like that would be discriminatory, just to remove them for those specific reasons if there's no clause or issues around them being on the board.
All right, and then Trustee Flamenco.
Yeah, and also Tony Bayudan is David kind of assistant, so there is a conflict of interest as well with him. So just wanted to bring that to the table as well. Thank you.
And I guess the only other thing I should say is that if someone does have a conflict of interest, so for example, if they were to bring something to the city council to vote on, if they have a conflict of interest, that person will have to recluse themselves. So I feel like that's why I'm not sure that's a good enough reason to say yay or nay to someone being on the board, specifically if there's no written language around a government official being not suitable for that role.
All right, so we are unfortunately out of time on this item, so I will need a motion to either.
A motion to extend for 1 more minute.
A motion for 1 more
Second.
minute?
Okay.
Second?
So before I second excuse me.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so all opposed? Motion passes for 1 more minute, so I will pass it to Trustee Rashba and then Trustee Ali.
Real quick, there is law and there's best practices and good governance. And even if there is not an explicit clause barring an elected official from serving, I do believe it's good, in accordance with good governance, to make these council members independent. So I would like a little research on that too, kind of what the best practices are in our communities.
All right, thank you.
Okay, before I second tabling this, I just want to know if we, I listened to Superintendent McCooley, and it sounded like you wanted us to just go ahead and vote for each person and see where the chips fall. And I'm for that because I'm not sure, what we're trying to do right now. But I want to see if all these candidates pass. Maybe we'll vote someone off and we'll just move on. But if we do that and we don't have 7 people, would you have enough time to recruit someone?
We would start advertising right away and try to recruit somebody right away.
All right, our time is up
So
on
I-
this, and I still do not have a motion for tabling or moving forward. So how are we going to proceed?
I move that we just go ahead with the vote.
All right, any oppositions? All right, so then we will go through each one.
We need a second
that's
for
right.
that.
So, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, motion passes. So we will go through each member. So the first member is committee candidate Pamela DiGiovanni, at-large community member. All right, so we will take will this be a roll call vote? Oh, just motion? All right, so I need a motion to confirm her as a member.
I motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion. All right, there is no second. The motion fails. All right, next person, Marianne Siki, senior citizen representative. I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, and the next one, Adrian Zanini, member of Taxpayer Association.
I move we approve Adrian Zanini.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, and we go to item 8D, single plans for student achievement. The administration recommends approval of the single plan for student achievement for the following JESD schools: Garden Village, Susan B. Anthony, Thomas Edison, and Thomas R. Policita, as developed by the school site council and site staff members. Representatives from each school will share their highlights from their school plans. Do I need to read the file?
Good evening, trustee board members. Good evening, cabinet. Happy New Year, everyone. My name is Nuala O'Sullivan-Haley. I'm the proud principal of Garden Village Elementary School, and I'm here tonight to highlight some of our grows and our glows from this year's SIPSA. So some of our glows that I'd like to address tonight.
Is your mic on?
I think I turned it off. There we go. So our incoming kinders, first and second grade students scored really well on their FastBridge assessments when they came in the fall. 60% of our kinders are reading above at or grade level. 76 of our first grade students are reading at or above grade level, and 59% of our second grade students are reading at or above grade level. So currently all our TK and kinder up to second grade teachers are currently administrating the winter FastBridge. So we hope to see growth with our second graders and with all our students in kinder and first grade. Just to touch briefly on our CASP from last year. Our SD students, socioeconomically disadvantaged students, made the highest increase of 37 points in our CASP math. Overall, our students in grades 3 through 6 made an increase of 22 points on the CASP math test, and we're just very proud of them. And we hope with all the great work that we're doing so far at Garden Village that we see that continue to grow when they take the CASP this year. So another big glow for Garden Village is that we received the silver level PBIS recognition award this year. So we're very happy about that. And we will continue to, we are going to apply again this year to see if we can get the gold award. All right, so I know a lot of people have talked about attendance and chronic absenteeism. So we've really seen a decline since 22-23. As you can see from the data up there, 26% of our students were chronically absent in the 22-23 school year, and that has declined this year to 21%. So I know a lot of you had the opportunity to look over these slides already, so I'm not going to go through all the bullet points. There's a few things that I wanted to add here that I didn't get an opportunity to because my presentation was moved up. But in regards to student achievement, one thing we've been really working on district-wide and with all the schools is ensuring that learning objectives and goals are posted in all our classrooms from TK up through 5. Those are shared by the teachers and also put on PowerPoints, and teachers check in with the students to make sure they know what they're learning. Differentiated instruction happens in all our classroom to make sure we meet the needs of all our students. So when you're dealing with the little kids, we want to make sure that we have a lot of hands-on learning as well. So active learning is very important. And we've been providing a lot of enrichment this year. We continue to support our garden teacher, SEI Education Outside. We provide music for minors to all our students. Thanks to Prop 28, we were able to have funding for an art teacher, which is shared, but that's absolutely wonderful as well. And students have access to the library every week and to PE. So very glad to see all of that. In regards to student achievement also, I do make it a priority for teachers to be provided time and coverage so they can observe other teachers on campus as well as teachers across the district that might be that might have a strategy that they want to share that works very well for their students or grade level. So I continue to do my walkthroughs with classrooms every day, and in doing so, I'm able to provide feedback to teachers, and of course, we celebrate all the successes, big and small. Parent engagement has continued to grow in a robust way since COVID-19 is all over. For example, our PTA continues to grow and build. They're very active this year. Just a couple of things. Oh, I'm 5 minutes? Well,
Yep.
I'm almost done. So thank you for listening to me. My apologies for going over.
All right, our next speaker is from the principal, Susan B. Anthony.
Good evening, board and cabinet. My name is Roxanne Hannon. I'm the proud principal at Susan B. Anthony Elementary School. To start off with some of our glows, we're really excited that we are growing the number of students who are meeting and exceeding standard on CASP, and we are shrinking the number of students who are in that red area not meeting standard. This is the same trend that we're seeing on our local assessments through iReady. We've made substantial growth there as well, as you can see. Our language learners are also showing excellent growth. We're really proud of that. We have a dedication to making sure that all students are able to access the curriculum and their learning. We were also awarded the highest level of recognition from the state for our PBIS, Positive Behavior Interventional Supports, and that's something that we're really dedicated to ensuring that we have a welcoming and safe climate. Some of the grows that we're really focusing on across the district, and of course at Susan B, is definitely attendance. We know that we're not going to be able to really address the opportunity gap and achievement levels if we don't have students in the classrooms learning every day. So you can see our chronic absenteeism in the blue from last year, and then our current numbers right now for January. So it's still an area that we're really focused on and want to continue to improve, because our ADA is not where it was pre-COVID numbers, but we are decreasing our chronic absenteeism. And of course, our continued commitment to ensuring that we do get to our site goal of 60% proficiency for both ELA and math as measured by CASP, iReady, and FastBridge. And our goal items, like I mentioned, getting to that 60% earmark this year and then continuing to increase the number of students who are proficient. and our school climate and chronic absenteeism. So we're looking to increase on the Panorama survey to 90% for a favorable school climate indicator, as we are continuing to strive to be a welcoming, engaging, and safe school. Are there any questions I can answer?
We'll hold all the questions to the end. Thank you very much. All right, our next presentation is from the principal of Thomas Edison.
Good evening. It's pretty intimidating. Hello, everyone. Good evening, board members and cabinet members. I am Christina Sanchez, proud principal of Thomas Edison Elementary School. Am I going to use this cool thing? Okay. So I just want to preface this that I'm using the data from last school year. I know some of my peers have used some of the data from this year, but we made this in November, and I didn't update it. But I do want to just share that we have had some notable successes. Last school year, there was a 92% supportive relationships in grades 3 through 5, which was an increase of 7% over last school year. So this was also measured via our Panorama survey, which is given periodically throughout the school year. It is a social emotional survey that our students in grades 3 through 5 take. Also, 50% of our 4th grade students met or exceeded standards in English language arts on the CASP test, or the California State Test. And in 3rd grade math, 49% of our students met or exceeded standards. I also, coming from middle school, loved this percentage. There were 0% suspensions in the 2023 and 2024 school year. And we also have to highlight some of our growths, because this informs all of the decisions that we make for the next school year. Our English language learners' progress declined by 21.1%. Our math scores from the state test did decline by 7 points. And our Panorama survey results identified a decrease in 4 categories listed there on the top left. And some of the interventions that we are using is just that targeted English language development to our TIG groups, and providing just more targeted support with speaking, listening, reading, and writing. And also with MTSS, our multi-tiered system of support, just using continuous cycles of improvement to monitor and adjust instruction. We have co-teaching currently happening in 2 classes for mathematics, and we are seeing some notable growth in our iReady test scores. So I'm excited to share that with you at my next SIPSA presentation. And so these are our priority goals for student achievement, just really leaning heavily on our multi-tiered system of support, using targeted instruction, ongoing assessment data, tracking student progress and analyzing that, and using iReady to provide individualized lessons and helping our teachers just inform them of next steps, small groupings, and helping our students out in all of those areas. We also use Universal Design for Learning, or UDL, to give students multiple means of receiving information and also expressing what they've learned. And of course, always thinking about school climate and how we can always make students feel safe and welcome at our schools, working with our counselors and my PBIS team to really make our students feel safe at school. And like my colleagues have all mentioned, chronic absenteeism is continuing to be a growth for all of us. So we are now doing monthly perfect attendance assemblies, doing early intervention and personalized supports, meeting with parents at parent-teacher conferences to discuss absences, and having ongoing communication with students and families. And that's all I have for you. Thank you.
And our next principal is the principal of TRP.
Thanks for staying, everybody. I'm the last one. Okay, here we go. All right, so as Christina mentioned, a lot of this data is from last school year, as when we first put this together, we were supposed to present earlier this year. So you'll see some from last year and some from this year. So we're going to go ahead and start with our GLOWs. As some other people have mentioned, just so proud to see the progress that our English language learners are making. Last year we had 179 students jumping at least one EL level, which was really big. 63% of our English learners made some kind of progress, which is over a 7% increase. And the number of fluent English proficient students, we call them the FEP students, increased by 26 from the previous school year. Another GLOW is, as someone mentioned, we take the Panorama survey, but students, it's not only for students, but also for staff. And so we saw a really big increase from our staff, who many are here today, and just in the categories of well-being and school climate, professional learning, and feedback and coaching. So I'm just really proud to see that. Always focusing on our growth. Our socioeconomically disadvantaged students and our Hispanic student group have declined. That's something that has happened over the last few years, but that is a big focus that I'll mention a little bit later in just ways that we're supporting them. Classroom visits every single day, really supporting teachers with UDL and those EL strategies. Teachers attending all kinds of grade level meetings, department, collaborative time, and district meetings. A really big support this year was with iReady, and I didn't put anything up there with it, but we've seen a huge gain in both ELA and math, which is really exciting. And then just middle school admin team and our leadership team. This year there's kind of a new process, and I'll share some data about kind of what those walkthroughs have looked like. So our priority goals, the first being in math, peer observations and feedback cycles, common prep time, not just for math, but across the board. That's something was implemented in all the middle schools this year. District department meetings, and then it's really exciting, we have an MTSS teacher that is co-teaching in math and ELA this year. And so she's pushing in, she's not just walking around the classroom, but she's actually alongside the teacher for support. With chronic absenteeism, a lot of community engagement. We probably all agree that face-to-face, one-on-one time with families is huge. And if you don't have that, you may, I don't believe we'll be seeing the increases like we want. So lots of family communication. We're really lucky to have 2 school counselors. So lots of meetings with the counselors and students and families with some social emotional support. A lot of wraparound services through the SARB process. And we're also recognizing good attendance and having monthly Student of the Month parties for our students as well. Getting that increase in CASP, how are we going to do that? This year, the middle schools created the academic enrichment classes, the support classes, if you will. We have 5 teachers, each with, that's more like up to 20 students per class, and they're receiving one-on-one support in a much smaller setting and kind of in place of an elective. So it's they're using iReady and using a lot of math and reading interventions in those classes. And as I mentioned, the leadership team is created something new this year. We have 3 subgroups. So of the big leadership team, we're divided into 3. Data action team looking at iReady data, the instructional support team, that are doing classroom observations every month, and the climate and culture team who are creating quarterly surveys for staff and families and students alongside the Panorama, just to kind of get more real-time data. iReady diagnostic platform, our students are almost meeting that 45 minutes every week in both math and ELA. Our teachers are doing an amazing job with making that happen. I won't show it now, but I have an example there of what the peer observation document looked like when teachers would go in to observe other teachers and kind of the things that they could write down their noticings. And then to increase our Panorama results, we just took the winter. We don't have they're taking it this week actually, they're wrapping it up. So creating opportunities for students to build friendships. We are bringing back lunchtime activities. One of my teachers is here who's running a student government group, and my other teacher here who has our peer leadership class who hopefully is going to come talk one day about our wonderful peer leadership program. We have brought back the Equality Club, restorative practices trainings. We're currently
very
in
much.
for admin and teachers, and you can click the links for the rest. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, principals, and thank you, Principal Santos, for your first SIPSA. All right, so we have 2 minutes and 35 seconds for any board member comments or questions, and I will start on my right. Please limit yourself to one question or comment as we go down. If we have time, I'll let you do another.
My one question is, you've all touched on chronic absenteeism. What is the one thing that you would point to that has had the best positive result in that area?
Anyone may just jump up, yeah.
We try all different types of things, but one thing that's very effective at Garden Village is meeting with families to see what the barriers are in getting kids to school. And so we have done empathy interviews with families alongside our school nurse, with our school counselor, so the team is there. And with all the resources that we have, we're able to provide resources for our families so that they can get their kids to school every day.
Definitely agree with that in terms of the family communication. For the older kids, it's also really having honest conversations, like, what time did you go to bed last night? You know, I mean, we have to get on the same page as them, and we give them the opportunity to try to fix their, you know, if they're just tardy all the time, how we can get them to school. But, you know, we provide bus passes for students. And for me, I think the open communication is huge. You know, no judgment. I try to take it how I would want my own kids to be, you know, talked to if something was happening. And just the relationship building and the creating those relationships with the students and their families. I don't know if you have something else to add.
I just think that we can't help our families if we don't know our families and we don't know what their needs are. So every single person or a family that we have to send to the advisor or the review board, attendance review board, it's all different. Everyone has a different situation and a different need. So just really having those face-to-face meetings and talking with them has proven to be the most successful.
To increase our communication just about what chronic absentee is and the impact on academic achievement for students, we're sending monthly letters to families to kind of have a broader outreach. So anyone who's not quite on that truancy list for the district letters yet, but maybe approaching, we're trying to be more proactive and really get them before they get there. So we're sending monthly letters, which then opens a discourse with families and also just educates them around what chronic absenteeism and that it does include both unexcused and excused absences.
Thank you. All right, so if there are any other comments or questions? We need a motion for more time if we do. We are out of time.
I'd like to move for an additional 5 minutes.
I have a motion.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes. Go
No.
ahead.
No questions, just thank you for the presentation.
Just a quick question for Susan B. Anthony. You mentioned, or maybe it wasn't Susan B. Anthony.
Oh.
Well, anyway, more recess options. What were those recess options? Yeah.
So we recently purchased ping pong tables, stone ping pong tables to survive the Daly City weather, stone chess and checker tables, backgammon, so you can play multiple games there. We had a former SBA student who's in the Eagle Scouts paint a life-size chessboard. So really trying to get to students who maybe aren't as interested in the play structure because they're a little bit older, and maybe those who aren't interested in athletics, still keeping them busy during that time and having options for them to socialize.
Okay. Thank you. Sounds great.
Hi, I remember one of the statistics, it says that the socioeconomical problem has increased like 68 or some percentage. Remember the question? And is that normally in most of the schools? Because I think it was one of the schools that it showed bigger data, right?
Our schools have a different, varying percent of students that are socioeconomically disadvantaged. It just depends on who's enrolled at that school. So I know that Thomas Edison has a lower percent than, say, Susan B. Anthony. So that's the difference.
And do we address that issue in our community as well, right? With services to the families?
We support all of our students, and students that have more needs, we support them. Actually, no matter what their economic status is, if they have needs, we support them. I don't know if we have anything specific for that as well. It's just really whatever our students' needs are, we support them as best we can.
Thanks.
Any other comments or questions?
I just want to thank Superintendent Mukulik for that answer, because that's what we're here for, is to support what's in the best interest of all of our students. So thank you.
All right, so this is an action item if there's no more discussion. So I will need a motion and a second.
Just to clarify, this is a motion to approve their school plans for student achievement.
Motion to approve the SIPSAs for Garden Village, Susan B. Anthony, Thomas Edison, and TRP as stated.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, under number 9G, fiscal year 23-24 annual financial audit report for year end June 30th, 2024. The administration recommends acceptance and approval of the audited annual financial reports for fiscal year 23-24 ended on June 30th of 2024 as submitted by auditing firm.
Yes, so I would like to invite our auditor to come up and give his presentation on the summary so that you can determine to accept and approve the audit report.
Good to meet you. Good evening. Thank you for having me. This is the annual financial report for Jefferson School District. My name is Ahmad Goraibe. I am the partner in charge of the audit for the district. Along with the district's financial statements, also we are requesting approval for the two bond measures that the district has, the Prop 39. I'm going to start out with the district report. Scope of the audit is to ensure that the financial statements are fairly stated. It is a process of effectively confirming the amounts that was previously presented to you by management. We just confirm. I mean, we connect with your bankers, with your creditors, with the state, with your grantors to ensure that the amounts that are reported on the financial statements are fairly stated. It is a process that starts at the beginning of the year. We look at the manner that you process receipts, the manner that you process disbursements, the manner that you process payroll. We like to see internal controls and reviews. We wait for management to close the books. We come in after the fact and we just begin confirming the amounts that are reported on the financial statements. Along with that, you are a recipient of federal and obviously state funding. And so the feds do ask us to audit federal programs, and the state does ask us to audit the state programs as well. And I'm pleased to let you know that we issued a clean opinion. Again, what you see here is what was presented to you by management previously. It is just a confirmation. Confirm your LCFF revenue, confirm your cash, confirm your debt. This is what we do. We don't confirm all the numbers. It is an emphasis and focus on significant numbers. They call them material amounts that are reported on the financial statements. And I'm pleased to let you know that we issued a clean opinion on the financial statements. On your federal compliance, they call it the single audit, the state compliance, and we noted no deficiencies or difficulties in the performance of the audit or deficiencies in the internal control. Along with that also, as I mentioned, Prop 39, that's your bond funding. It's a little bit of a different scope of the audit. In this case is ensuring that the district had segregated the funding for those measures from district's funds. Along with that is ensuring that the expenditures charged to these funds are in accordance to what the voters had voted on, or in accordance with what specified in the ballots, voter ballots. And I'm pleased to let you know that when we sampled these expenses, we noted no non-compliance with that requirement, and the amounts that were reported in these financial statements related to those bond measures are also fairly stated. And with that, I'll be more than happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions? I will start on my right. If none, you can just, yeah.
I do not. Thank you for the presentation.
No questions at this time.
Good seeing you again, and thank you for holding us accountable.
Thank you. I have a question in this where it says measure bond project completed.
That's actually the next presentation, so just hold on to that one.
Okay. Then no question.
No questions. And no questions. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you for having me.
Oh. Yeah. And then before I move on, this is an action item, so I will need a motion to approve or not, but probably not good.
A motion to approve the audit.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, item 9H, a bond project update. Mr. Bill Heath, Director of Maintenance and Operations / Construction Program, and Ms. Josie Peterson, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, will present an update on the Measure U and J bond projects.
Thank you for the introduction. Tonight, we are going to review the JESD bond history. In the last 12 years, the community has approved 3 bond measures totaling $142.5 million. We reviewed Measure I and Measure U in our last presentation, but we have included it here for you for background information and also for the public.
In our last review of Measure U, all the projects were completed except for the workforce housing, Daniel Webster and Thomas Edison, Fernando Rivera access control and student drop-off projects. Currently, the workforce housing project is 100% completed in construction, and it's 100% occupied. 55 of the 56 units are currently occupied by staff and their families, and one of the units is currently being held for district purposes. We've issued Measure C of the final bond back in December, and the projects that are being financed with Measure C include the Daniel Webster access control and office the Daniel Webster access control and office and fencing project that is now currently complete. Thomas Edison site work and Fernando Rivera site work is complete, and the access control is complete. Fernando Rivera Phase 2, which is the remodeling and reconfiguration of the office, is currently under construction, and we expect to be completed with the office component of that by break time. We'll move the office to the front, and then we'll do the second part of that with projected completion of about June 1st of 2025.
These are just the photos that will go along with that.
The final project that's under development is the Westlake Elementary School Administrative Building reconfiguration and student drop-off and field improvement project. This project will allow off-street parking for the staff at Westlake Elementary School. It'll allow off-street student drop-off, and it'll also allow a larger and more accessible office that it will allow access onto the school site by the community without having, with being able to go through the office and not being able to get into the middle of the school site. It's also going to be have a component that's going to do field modifications so that we'll have the ability for students and the public to access that field and use it for PE enrichment and community events on non-school hours.
So here's a summary of all of the bond revenues, Measure I, U, and J. And as you know, we just issued Series C of Measure J. Our estimated expenditures are equal to the revenues, $142.5 million. The good news here is that we are also receiving an additional $720,000 from the state facility program. It's a program the state has where you can apply for funds once your project is completed, and the state reimburses you some of the costs that you've expended. So we expended $720,000, and we're going to get those funds back from the state. And more good news is, as these other projects are being completed, we are going to be filling out those applications as well. So it'll be more funds back into the building fund for the district to spend on capital outlay projects.
One of the downsides of that is it takes us 3 to 5 years to recoup that money from the state if it's approved. So it doesn't come fast, but it allows us to augment our facilities funds to utilize it in the future.
And we'd be happy to take any questions. We did go quickly because, as we stated in the beginning, a lot of the presentation was a duplicate from the last presentation given to the board. So Bill just went over the new items, but happy to take any questions the board has.
All right, thank you for your presentation. All right, I'll start with questions on my right. Please keep it to one, and then we'll come back.
Okay.
Yeah, microphone.
Thank you. You know, I do believe that the most important work that happens at our schools is what happens inside the walls. But I do believe that the quality conditions of our schools matters a lot. Curb appeal matters a lot with our schools. So I want to commend you on the presentation and the management of all of these projects. It's really gratifying to see how that we've improved our campuses over the years in a meaningful way. So I definitely want to send the message to please continue the good work. That's a lot of money that the community has entrusted our district with and approved in debt financing. So I certainly ask you to continue to steward the public's money well. But it seems like we've done some really good work here, and I think makes a big difference to our bottom line too, because, you know, as we've talked about tonight, attendance determines funding in a lot of ways, and I think that the facilities and conditions of our schools may be what makes the difference in parents deciding to choose JESD for their children's education. So I did have one question about the Westlake fields in the project, and that is really wonderful to see that we have those facilities for our students. And you mentioned the public in a community where we don't have much in the way of athletic fields often. Who is going to manage the use of those fields outside of school hours?
So that's a good question. To answer that, throughout the district, we have a facility use program where the public can request use of facilities and during non-school time. We utilize the gyms, we utilize the athletic fields at a couple of the other campuses to soccer groups and basketball groups and volleyball groups and everything else. So the public can log on to our website, fill out a facility use request. There are certain caveats that they have to be insured and they have to meet certain requirements. But those fields and all of our facilities are available for use by the public through that process, and the rates that we require reimbursement are also based on a criteria of whether they're a nonprofit group, whether they're a for-profit group, whether they're a community group. So that process is already in effect, and we do currently manage it ourselves.
Thank you for the presentation. I think in addition to what my fellow trustee said, I think that these improvements are also assisting with safety. I've been to all of these schools. I have a child that goes to one of those schools, and drop-off can be hard, especially in our small town. And so I think Westlake really is deserving of a better drop-off and parking area. And also, obviously, right now, once you get into the campus or get into the office, you're in the school and you have access to the children. So I'm really excited to see how that project progresses. I would like to see updates as it happens, because I know that we've heard, and I'm really appreciative of you answering the question on facilities use, because I think we've heard a lot from the public saying, well, we can't use your facilities anymore. We can't get on campus because now you have the gates up, right? And so I think it's important for them to understand that there's a process to use the facilities, and it's not like an open park or public domain where anyone can just access it, not just for the safety of obviously our students when they come onto campus after they've used our facilities, but also just to protect our own property from damages, and then in turn that's costs that come after that. So appreciate that statement.
My board colleagues, they covered it. Both of the questions that I had, so that was great. I just want to say I'm glad to see, as you mentioned, Westlake getting that treatment, just like Garden Village got. So that is very great, and thank you for your work. And then I just want to also mention that, averaging about $10 to $11 million a year since 2012, that's pretty good for us to get that support from our community. So thanks once again to the community.
Thank you. My question is about security cameras district-wide. Sorry, can we make sure all our schools have cameras? Just because I went to Woodrow Wilson, passed by, and they didn't have intercom.
They don't have the intercom, but they do have security cameras. And
Oh, okay.
Mr. Heath will answer that.
All of our school sites do have security cameras that can fulfill multiple needs. They can be viewed live. They're also, they archive footage, and they're all tied into our alarm system. So they can be, like for instance, if an alarm goes off at a school site, the alarm company can immediately pull up the cameras and determine if there's somebody on the campus. So we do have a very broad view of every school, of all the public areas, hallways, gates, things like that. Not all of the schools currently have an access control that's at a gate, but we're working on that. That's the smaller part of the project.
Thank you. And I have one more question about housing. How many apartments are in total in the housing, and what percentage is for teacher, and if that includes retired teachers?
So the total amount of units is, there's 56 units that are 56 apartment units that are 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units, and they are currently occupied there's 55 of them occupied, with one being held back for the district's use, and the percentage of occupancy, I think, is 60-40, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's classified and certificated, and the individuals that live in those units, the leaser has to be a district employee. So retired employees are no longer district employees, so therefore they're not eligible to live in those units.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Can I ask one follow-on question on that? What is our waiting list for the units? It's 100%. Is it a long list?
Well, that's a good question, and I don't really have that answer. We can get that to you, but I do know that we had to close the applications. We only had them open for certain periods of time. We had to close them at a certain point in time. When we ended up with the occupancy that we have. So the waiting list, I'm sure that there are people who are waiting to be queued once they open back up.
If you have any other questions on that, that can be on the Housing Board website or through the Housing Board Committee. You can
Yes.
view their meetings.
Mr. President, okay. The district use, the unit that's being held back for district use, what is the district use?
That could be for recruitment. It could be, right now, I think that the Housing Commission or Housing Corporation had said that they wanted to hold back 1%, which is one unit, for recruitment purposes. So if we're trying to hire somebody that we have, and they're from out of the area, we're able to offer them accommodations, a place to rent.
Mr. President, what, is it a 1, 2, or a 3-bedroom?
The one that's open is currently a 1.
Thank you.
All right, I have one question. First of all, thank you for the presentation. My one question is, so during the Fernando Rivera office changing, you said by break time. Which break were you
I'm sorry.
referring to?
Yeah, that would be during ski week break, during President's Week break. So the plan is to, and they put up the internal walls today, the glass walls. So the plan is to have the office move, we will move the office equipment in there during that week, so that when they come back to work on Monday morning, they'll be at the front of the school and have all brand new offices.
Excellent, thank you. Are there any last minute questions or comments? We have 50 seconds for any of them more.
I have one comment. I would say, seeing that we had to close our applications and seeing as we have so much interest, and 56 units obviously is not a lot, I would implore the district to look at other of our school properties that may have space to do this a second time around. We've talked earlier about the value that we can bring to our teachers, and it seems like we need more units. And I know that's harder, easier said than done, but we need to look into what does that look like.
All right, and with that, we are at time. That is an information item, so no vote. Thank you very much for your time and answering our questions. All right, with that, we move on to item 12A, JESD board study sessions. Okay, yeah. The board will discuss the scheduling of a special study session on how to best allocate resources and structure programs given declining enrollment. You're fine.
Setting up the timer.
Thank you.
So this was brought up at the last board meeting to ask if we could schedule a study session on how to best allocate resources. And so today really is just calendaring that special study session if there is interest to have one. And so I'll let you have a discussion about if you would like to schedule this meeting and what day. I'm going to propose, if you do want to schedule it, a Wednesday of a week that is not a board meeting week. So maybe to give staff time to prepare for it, a March meeting, so March 5th or 19th, and then possibly 7 o'clock. As a start time, or if you want to start earlier. So those are just some ideas to throw out and let you have a discussion about it and what days and times might work for you for this as well.
Thank you. All right, I'll give us a minute to check our calendars.
What would be the time of a study session? 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock?
Superintendent McCulloch?
Sorry, the 19th might not be available, so maybe even Tuesday or Thursday of those weeks that are not board meeting weeks. So like looking at the week of the March, I guess, 3rd, and the week of March 17th, so it would be more like 17th, 18th.
Yeah.
Are you 100% against having a meeting at 6:30, special board meeting at 6:30 the same night as a board meeting? Because we've done that in the
How
past.
long is what would be the duration of this meeting or estimated
Well, a
duration?
special study session, usually you'd want a couple hours to go through the information, maybe 1 hour. So if you wanted to start at 6 on a board meeting night, we could do that. I just don't know the availability of board members coming at that time, or even 5:30. We could add dinner to it for the board members and staff that are leading.
So then our couple of options, just to repeat that for anyone who didn't hear it, is we could do a night that's not a board meeting night for 1 hour, potentially, probably a minimum of an hour before the meeting, or we could do a Wednesday that is not a board meeting night and have a more robust discussion over 2 hours.
And preferably in late February, early March, because we do have that February break to give staff time to prepare for it as well, because, we'll have all of our cabinet members working together on that. So I'm also going to ask my cabinet members to check their calendars too. So I know that March 19th, 20th is not available, but if we could.
The 18th is the spelling bee. I have it in my calendar.
Yes, the 18th is the spelling bee. So maybe not that week then. That might be a challenging week. So maybe if we can look at the first week of March, the week of the 3rd, or the week of the 10th. The 12th is a board meeting night, so if you wanted to choose that as an add-on, that is also possible as well. And cabinet members chime in if there's a day that's selected that you are not available. Let us know too.
Sorry, did you recommend the 12th, or did you just say, what would you say about the 12th? I didn't catch it.
Well, I'm saying that's an option because that was brought up.
And so that one would be an hour since we have a board meeting.
Yeah, we could try to do it within an hour, sure. I mean, we do need to plan, and so we could keep it just really high level, concise. What I predict is it'll be just really high level information to then have the board determine, do we want to have a committee developed?
All right, and so this is open for discussion unless there is a motion for a date and a time.
I would prefer a board meeting night, if possible.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so I need a motion before we vote.
Well, I guess so far, we just
So
went
the-
on a board meeting night. So is there just one board meeting?
We could do March 12th. I would prefer to go then March 12th or March 26th. I know my cabinet members are most likely here on those days, so those are probably good as well.
The earlier the better to me, so March 12th, you said? Yeah, March 12th, I propose.
Is that
All right,
a
I make a
motion?
motion that we have it on March 12th at 6 o'clock.
I second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes, so we will have that special study session on March 12th at 6 p.m. Invites will be sent out by the district. All right, moving on, we go to item 13A, September 2024 CSBA policy review, board policy updates, second reading. The board will review and revise board policies, administrative regulations, board bylaws from September 2024 CSBA board policy updates as stated in a second reading. Do I have any discussion? If not, then can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 13B, Board Bylaw 9100, Organization, Election of Officers Review. The board will discuss revising Board Bylaw 9100 by adding the new role of a parliamentarian to the election of officers. All right, Ms. McCullough, can you share what you have learned?
Yes.
Set up your timer.
Sorry.
That's okay, it's fine, thank
It's
you.
a new task for me, so I'm getting used to it.
I appreciate it.
So I did some research on this, and the parliamentarian role is not typical in school boards. I asked all of my colleagues in the San Mateo County, and no one has a parliamentarian role. It's specifically as like an elected role or something assigned during the election of officers. Most likely, it is either kind of by default, the superintendent helps guide the board president, and then the board president also, by facilitating the meeting, is parliamentarian, as in they're following the Roberts Rules of Order. So This is, I put on the board bylaw, the organization board bylaw, to see if you do want to make a designation, either maybe assigning, I'm assigned the secretary, but you could add parliamentarian in the bylaws, or you could just agree to say not to change the bylaw and just have that as a default for the superintendent as well as the board president to monitor parliamentary procedures. So it's really up to you what you want to do. You can add it as a board bylaw to this board bylaw, or you can just agree to that's what the practice will be for our board and governance team.
All right, thank you, Superintendent McCulloch. Is there any discussion amongst board members?
My recommendation is that the responsibility be on the superintendent and the board president. I think it kind of is happening informally now, and I guess we just need to say it out loud that that is the responsibility. And I guess the question would be, is it okay that if we, as other trustees that are not, I guess, in that serving role, if we see something going awry, is it okay that we speak up and say, hey, we see something that's going awry, can we either reel it in or course correct?
Yes, so it is actually everyone's responsibility to follow Robert's Rules of Order. So if you do see that the board is going off of the Rules of Order, it is appropriate for you to use, that's why we have this in front of every board member, to call that out. So if I miss it, or if the board president misses it and you're noticing it, you can call it out here.
Yeah, I agree. I think that since we were given this parliamentary motions guide and it became formalized, that's why I thought we needed that position to be formalized, and I'm happy with it being the default to the superintendent and the board president as well.
I agree with my fellow trustees.
Me too.
All right, so with that, I guess
I think we can just make a motion to not to,
to not move forward with it.
well, that we're going to keep the board bylaws as is, and the superintendent and board president will, actually, everyone's really monitoring parliamentary procedures, so just maybe a motion to keep the board bylaws as stated.
I move that we keep the board bylaws as stated.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 14A, Board Study Session CSBA 2024 Annual Education Conference. Board members Shaquille Ali and Nadia Flamenco will highlight some of their learnings as well as give a report about their attendance at the California School Boards Association 2024 Annual Conference in Anaheim from December 5th to 7th in 2024.
And if I may, before you start, I'll have a 10-minute timer. You'll each have 10 minutes so you can see here how long you have.
Excellent. So, and we'll have Trustee Ali go first.
All right, thank you. So thank you for the opportunity to share my experience attending the California School Boards Association Annual Education Conference 2024. The purpose of my attendance was twofold: to gain valuable insights into governance, equity, teacher retention, and leadership, topics critical to the success of our district, and also to network with education leaders, board members, and policymakers from across California to bring back fresh ideas and actionable strategies to our district. This year's conference offered numerous sessions focused on well-being, equity, compliance, and leadership, all of which directly align with our district's priorities. So I'm going to give you some basically highlights of the conference. So the first highlight was the keynote sessions and opening remarks. I really enjoyed the Yale Science of Wellbeing presentation. That was one of the most impactful sessions, was the Yale Science of Wellbeing keynote. This presentation, based on Yale's renowned course on happiness and mental health, offered practical, science-backed strategies to cultivate well-being for both adults and students. And my key takeaways from that were 1, happiness and productivity. The session emphasized the link between emotional well-being and productivity. Research shows that happier individuals are more efficient, resilient, and able to tackle challenges with clarity. Job crafting. This concept focuses on shaping one's work to align more closely with their personal values and strengths. For educators, this could mean adjusting lesson planning, classroom activities, or professional roles to foster a deeper sense of purpose and engagement. Time affluence. I definitely believe in abundance and not, scarcity. Time affluence. This idea challenges us to view time as a resource to be carefully managed, much like finances. Strategies include delegating tasks or investing in tools that save time, freeing up opportunities for meaningful activities. The concept of time confetti resonated deeply with me, encouraging the use of small fragments of time for fulfilling and restorative activities. So I actually do set 2-minute timers for things, 3-minute timers. So I definitely related to that. These strategies are directly applicable to teacher and staff time management, helping prevent burnout and improve overall well-being. Free curriculum. One of the most exciting outcomes of the session is that the Yale Science of Wellbeing course is available as a free curriculum, which can be used for both teens and adults. This provides an incredible opportunity for Jefferson Elementary School District to integrate evidence-based mental health strategies into both our student programs and professional development for staff. I actually listen to Dr. Lori Santos's podcast sometimes when I'm on my way to work too. So it was exciting to meet her. I took a picture with her and did some networking too. She said she needed help getting her curriculum into facilities where youth are incarcerated because they don't have access to the internet a lot of time. It's hard for her to get those resources there. So I'm gonna hopefully be working on some ideas with her on that. So I attended not every workshop and panel, but I attended quite a few. I went to the legal symposium the first day. It was mainly focused on Title IX updates. This workshop clarified the evolving requirements of Title IX policies, focusing on ensuring equity and strengthening compliance practices. The session provided actionable strategies to improve how Title IX is implemented in districts, ensuring policies are clear, accessible, and inclusive. These updates are critical for our district as we strive to maintain robust processes that support all students equitably. Networking outcomes. During the conference, I connected with education leaders and policymakers from across the state. These conversations open doors to potential partnerships, including collaborating with other districts to implement well-being initiatives such as the Yale curriculum, sharing best practices for strengthening Title IX compliance and creating equitable environments, and exploring additional professional development opportunities for JESD staff. So my insights and recommendations are that, I learned that we have some immediate opportunities, the Science of Wellbeing curriculum, to hopefully introduce the Yale's free curriculum for use in wellness programs or advisory periods for students, incorporate adult-focused modules into professional development to enhance staff well-being and productivity, strengthening our Title IX policies, conducting a review of our current Title IX policies to identify areas for improvement, propose updates to ensure our processes are accessible, equitable, and robust. Time management tools encourage our staff to adopt time affluent strategies to reduce burnout and increase efficiency. Organize professional development sessions on task delegation, prioritization, and time management. Okay, this is too much. I'm going to stop
3 minutes
there.
and 14.
Basically, I really enjoyed my time there. There's a lot of learning, but it's not just the learning, it's the networking with other people. And, it's always good to see all the San Mateo. We have a good presence from San Mateo County in general, and specifically North County. We show up big out there. So I appreciate my opportunity to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Utley. Trustee Flamenco, it's your turn.
Hi, how are you, everybody? Well, for me, this is my first time, and I thought about what I was gonna tell you guys, but I decided to be honest with you. To me, it was a sweet and sour experience, and I will go from the good, the best, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the best thing for me was the way our team, it was really efficient and had everything set up for us. We appreciate all the help Sandy and Maria have put in this effort. We were basically like, no worries. We were like pampering all of that. Thank you so much for all the work you do. The good, it was the location. It was in Anaheim, Disneyland, and we had so much, it's the happiest place in the world. We have a beautiful location. Our venues, it was great. The proximity of our hotel, it was right there. And we had a good time all together. We enjoyed food and camaraderie. ¿Cómo? Eso. And I did love the expo where we had time to see all the different activities or companies that are able to give our kids a great support. And for me also the good part was have all the information available as a new member. The bad, I will say that I noticed they were trying to hide the big elephant in the room, that it was our basic needs as society, where we need shelter, food, clothes, and work. It was more addressed to other things, and I feel like more in California, where we have a lot of deficit, that was not a topic that was brought to the table. The ugly, I attend many speakers, and I had a lot of questions. When I was going to this exposition, more about the Title IX, that is what's going to be about restrooms and lockers open for boys and girls, I had a lot of questions how we were going to address this. So I started asking to have everybody safe, how much money we get to modify our facilities, and there is that's one thing that they say there is no money, and I was really frustrated about it. But then how we provide safety to our kids, and that was the reason that it creates some commotion in the room. I was requested to move out from it. So it was interesting because they were preaching about self-expression, and I had a lot of doubts how we as a school district we were gonna address that. And there is a lot of deficiency in the budget that it brought our attention, and that's why we want to go to coast to coast. What other thing? Oh, then I went to the speaking about sexual trafficking, how we will support and prevent human trafficking if we are not asking questions, how we are gonna cooperate in the program. Well, basically, there was another one speaker about they were going to increase aftercare but reduce teachers' credentials. So I was asking more questions about that. So in that ways, I feel they were not really too open to discuss. And it creates some discomfort. But then, as a feedback, I address more the realistic problems as homelessness, economic factors, and maybe the possibility to attend online. I told them about it recently. I also attend this Saturday the new board member meeting that I was discussing with them about equality, how San Mateo County has different budgets, and I talk to them and I say, till Daly City has the budget of Atherton, then there is not equality for us. So hopefully we as members can continue addressing these issues at a higher level, because there is a big, we talk about equality, but it's a financial equality, and it's a big gap between different cities in our county. So that's what I have for you guys today. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, and we move to item 15, governance team member comments, reports, future agenda items, and board meeting reflection. I will start on my right.
Well, that was a really engaging meeting, and I think we covered a lot of important topics. It's always great to hear that we have a clean audit and opinion. Really wonderful to hear the facilities projects, to go over those, the SIPSAs, and of course to hear from our students who won that poster contest was really exciting. But actually, I think the most exciting thing about this meeting was all the engagement, and that we were totally packed and had speaker cards, a lot of speakers. I think that's great. And so I thank those of you who came in person, who spoke, and or who attended here or online. Thank you very much.
I also agree with my fellow trustee. I really appreciate everyone that was able to attend tonight. I want to thank the certificated staff and the representative that spoke tonight, as well as all the teachers that spoke up about their concerns. I pride myself in being a very transparent person, and so body language is super important. People can see how we are and what we're doing up here. I think what I want to make sure that people are aware of is that we are not allowed to engage, and so my body language was very neutral throughout the engagement or the conversations or discussions around negotiations that were coming up, and that is because I can't technically go yay or nay in public that I am for or against whatever was being said tonight. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk through is the conversation that we were having around the committee or the oversight committee that we voted on tonight. And I just want to say that I'm grateful that we don't all have group think up here and everybody has to agree with everyone. However, I do want to say that being on the board for 4 years, and prior to me being on the board, I was a helicopter parent on the PTA, constantly at the school, doing the garden stuff, is what I realize is that we don't always get a lot of people that want to be on a committee or want to be on a board. And so as a person that is on this board and is also on the board in a committee for DCPLA and is also doing all these other things throughout the community, my stance on moving forward beyond just best practices is because I would not want to be voted against just because I am an elected official. I have interest outside of just being on this board, and so my vote was not political in the sense that we need that specific individual that did not keep their seat, but speaking beyond just that individual, that I don't think, at least in my opinion, that we should vote against an elected official for other things, because a lot of elected officials want to be on boards and do things on the committees. And if we're not getting the, I guess, public to do so, then I wouldn't want to keep an elected official out. So I just wanted to say that out loud to make sure that the public understands that my vote was not for an individual, but it was specific to the overall things that I have seen as someone who is very active in the community as well as being an elected official. Thank you.
Thank you. And along those lines, yeah, I clapped for people as they came up, and after they spoke, I sat here and listened. But I would like to say that I would appreciate if the superintendent can clarify some of the things that were brought up as far as the disparity. So how close are we, or how far are we from other districts, similar districts in our area when it comes to salary? And
this will be discussed in closed session.
Yep. So, and then I definitely know that we kept our focus on what's in the best interest of the students. And thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for being here to bring in all the information. Really easy for us to understand in this short time, and we appreciate all your work. Thank you.
I echo the fellow sentiments of my fellow trustees. And again, no matter how much we agree or disagree with each other, we all have a respected 20%, but we make up the board. And again, we make up, hopefully, to represent our community effectively. So thank you very much. So with that, we move to our next item, which is item 16, persons wishing to address the board on closed session items. This portion of the agenda is available for individuals to comment on or address the board on an item addressed in closed session. The maximum time allowed for any speaker is usually 2 minutes. Do we have any? There are none. All right, seeing with that, we will move to item number 17, which is recess. So before we do that, we would like to say enjoy the 3-day weekend coming up. And then before that, we're going to take a 5-minute recess, but we will pause for a moment of silence. Do we have the statement? Oh, there we go. We are going to have a moment of silence in memory on January 15th of 2024 for Marie Estelle Brizuela, retired board member. Mrs. Brizuela served on the board for 41 consecutive years. Ronald J. Appel, and for Ronald J. Appel, former board member and personnel commissioner. So at 9:06.